Join the scholars of Sylvan Hills Junior High School as they search for the secrets to test-taking skills.
How do you think we should prepare for the ACT?
Good question, Mr. Starks. I think that students should really take it into consideration when they're taking their NWEA MAP test, as those almost simulate the ACTAspire. So students that are taking the ACTAspire, students who are taking the MAP test, they actually get a little practice for the actual ACT. The ACTAspire can actually project just how well you will do on the ACT when you take that. So it's very important to do it's very important to study really hard for all of those tests. Listen to your teachers, and you should do great on your ACT test, which will get you better placement in college courses.
Is there an accommodation for people with learning disorders?
Absolutely. Students with learning disorders can have all types of modifications for their tests when they take them. It begins in school, where you actually go to the counselor and you find out if you may need more time to take the test, if you're struggling with anxiety. There are several things we can do. We actually can make your test where you can get more minutes to take it. If you stress, we can put you in a small group. If you need one-on-one testing, you can do that as well, depending on the situation. And if you have problems with reading, there's a thing that's called text-to-speech, where the test will actually read the test to you. So yes, there are lots of accommodations available for students on these tests.
Is there a strategy for time management?
Actually, there's a great strategy for time management. Students actually get to practice time management throughout the year when they're taking the MAP and they're taking the ACTAspire. Best thing you can do for time management overall is get a very good night rest, have a healthy breakfast that morning, and just relax. The test can be very easy for you.
How do you think we should prepare for the ACT?
To prepare for the ACT, I would recommend students take every opportunity that they have to improve their skills in the individual areas. So for example, after-school tutoring is offered in English, math, and science, and those are on different days of the week, so I would definitely recommend that for students. We have some opportunities available during the school day, such as VIP math, so I would highly recommend students get involved in VIP math to raise their scores. Other things you can do are study at home. So I know some students are familiar with Khan Academy, but there's also other ACT programs that you can use. I know in our classrooms we use USA Today. What's it called? USA Test Prep. USA Test Prep. That would be a great opportunity for students. So anything that you're doing in the class that would prepare you, make sure that you're doing it with fidelity, paying attention to what your teachers are talking about so that you can do better on the test. When students are taking the ACTAspire, there are modifications or accommodations for testing. So some students have small groups, some students have extended time. It really depends on the student's individual needs and what they need for them. One interesting fact is that students that receive modifications or accommodations can also receive those when they go to college. So that's something that not all students are aware of that may help them.
Hello, I'm Ted Steen. Are you nervous about the ACTAspire? Well, do I have a beaut of a deal for you. First, you gotta study. Next, dial in. Whee! You also got to stay tuned. Step 1, set some time aside for studying things that you care greatly about. Ha! Step 2, dial in on things you don't know very well or topics that you struggle with. Tune out the distractions and tune into your flow. Make sure that the area you study in is comfortable and away from distractions to eliminate all those things that can hold you back. So now that you have some tips, try them out so you're not selling used cars and living in a van down by the river.
How do you think we should prepare for the ACT?
Jeremy, I think that's a really great question. There's a lot of things we can do to prepare for it. The night before, we should what? Get some good night's sleep. In the morning, we should what? Get a good breakfast. You should give yourself a chance to be successful. Take your time. Read all the questions. Look at them. You know. Really try, Jeremy. That's what I would say. If someone asked me, I'm saying.
How should you properly read a passage?
Well, that's also a great question, Jeremy. If it was me, if I was reading a passage, I would pay attention to the questions. The questions are important. Also, the headings, any bold items, anything in italics, right? Sometimes you just want to stare at it, you know. Skim it, scan it.
Do you have anything to add?
I have a good feeling about this test. I think we're all going to do really well on it.
How do you think we should prepare for the ACT?
When you're in class, do the best you can. Take every opportunity you can, especially with the some of the students, like for math, has got the VIP, or if there's tutoring available, make sure you go to those. Just take every opportunity to read your books to the best of your ability, because we're not going to know all the answers. Like even for me, when we're doing preparing for the teacher's exams, what we call praxis, we didn't know all the questions, and we had a 100-question test, and you had no clue what was going to be on it. And it's the same thing with you with the ACTAspire. Just go in there and just do your best, and take as much information you can from your teachers.
If we get stuck on a question, what should we do?
First of all, read the question, and because the question will guide you to the answer that's going to be on the test. And then when you start looking at the answers, eliminate the answers that you know are definitely not the questions. This way you get yourself down to maybe a 50-50, and then from there just pick which if you definitely don't know the answer and you're stuck, just pick what you think is the best answer. Go with your gut. The gut will definitely take care of you most of the time. But begin with reading the question, and then from there start eliminating answers, and then just choose what you think is the best answer.
Do you have anything to add?
Good luck, and just make sure you get a good night's sleep the night before, have a good breakfast, and then come to school with an open mind, and be relaxed, and just do your best. So.
How do you think we should prepare for the ACT?
I think the most important thing for our scholars to prepare for the ACT is be able to decipher the questions and be able to answer every single thing that is asked of them. A big thing for them is to be able to have testing strategies to help be the most successful that they can, to help curb the test anxiety that they might have.
What do you think the majority struggle with on the science test of the ACT?
I think the biggest thing about the science test is that it's really not a science test. It's more of a graphing and being able to decipher graphs and excerpts from a reading. The big thing for them is to be able to pull out the information, and I always tell my scholars to make sure they're able to dig through the garbage, because a lot of it is stuff that's just fluff, and just making sure they pull out the most important parts to be able to decipher the data.
Do you have anything to add?
Our scholars here at Sylvan Hills Junior are awesome.
How do you think we should prepare for the ACT?
I think the most thing that students might struggle with to help prepare them is time management. Practicing getting the questions done within a certain period of time. So like pretend you have 60 questions and you have 60 minutes. So think of like one question per minute. So I think time management would be a big thing.
What topic do students struggle with most that they should study?
I would say geometry. You see a little bit in middle school, but you won't really see it again until your junior year. So definitely geometry topics like area, perimeter, circles, anything like that would be a topic students need to practice and struggle, or what am I trying to say? Study.
Do you have anything else to add?
I would say don't think of your calculator don't use it as much as you think you might want to. Don't use it as a crutch, only use it when you think you need to. And take whatever answer choices they give you and go from there. Because the answers are right in front of you, so take those answers and then go from there.
How should I balance school and sports?
Good question. I think it's very important to concentrate on your studies as an athlete. You're known as student athletes anyway, and the student part comes first. So most of your concentration should be done in the classroom. The sports portion is extracurricular, so that's the extra part of your education. In order for you to be able to do that, you have to communicate with your coaches. Your coaches are gonna, or should be, flexible with you and understand that you do have classwork that needs to be done. You've got to be able to feel comfortable with your coaches enough to talk to them and let them know what your needs are in the classroom so that you can perform better on your sport.
How do you think we should prepare for the ACT?
Okay, one way to prepare is to get an adequate amount of sleep, about 7 or 8 hours. Another would be to eat a healthy breakfast. Some examples would be oatmeal, whole grain cereal, fruit. Stay away from greasy foods, Pop-Tarts, donuts, those type of things. Another would be to make sure your Chromebook is fully charged. Another one that helped me a lot in the 9th grade would be if you come across a question that's too hard, skip it, answer the easier questions, and then come back to the harder ones.
Are there accommodations for people with learning disorders?
Learning disorders, learning disabilities, some accommodations would be testing a smaller group setting. Another one would be if you need earbuds, earphones. Another one, getting extended time to take the test.
How do you think we should prepare for the ACT?
Students should prepare for the ACT, number one, by paying close attention in class. Your classroom, the instruction should be directly centered towards the standards that will be covered on the test. So if you're paying attention in class to what's going on, that's your number one shot for success on the test. It's also important for students to do the work assigned to the standards, to do the remediation, the practice, and the extension. Students need to be active, they need to be engaged, and they need to ask appropriate questions. If it's things that you're still unclear about, get with your teacher in that subject area so they can assign extra help, practice, remediation for that. You can also attend after-school tutoring. Those sessions are helping students practice skills that are tied to the test, as well as the ACTAspire released items materials that a lot of the teachers are using for bell ringers and exit tickets. Pay attention to those items. It's exposing you to the language that will be used on the test and the types of questions that will be asked on the test. Best way to prepare, pay attention, be involved. Definitely look at what's going on your Edulastic math stuff and your USA Test Prep ELA stuff, because those are the possible questions or types of questions that you'll see again on the big test.
How should you properly read a passage?
I teach students to annotate anything that they read, and when we annotate, we take simple notes about what we're reading in real time. Annotation is a super simple skill to execute. You have people who annotate from kindergarten to your grandmother who has this Bible that's marked up. It's a simple strategy where students should highlight important information. They should circle unknown vocabulary. They should draw arrows to link related ideas in a passage. If there are any shifts in the passage, they need to annotate those shifts. Just make a simple note. We use Kami to do that. That deepens reading comprehension and it helps you get the most out of reading a passage. Annotate.